Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and this is Medicine Walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So, I hope everyone had a good week. I really enjoyed last month's topic. I hope you got a lot out of it too. And if you have any questions, you can please place them in the comments. And as usual, I am in the chat room now, live. So if you have any questions or comments for the premiere of the episode only, I'm in the chat room. So if you want to log in and start up a conversation or have some questions, please feel free to do so. So this month, I kind of went back and forth on what it was that I wanted to talk about. And the thing that really came out most, especially because of some very, very, very sad events and heartbreaking events that occurred this past weekend at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. So that kind of brought it into mind that there's a need for a discussion on light and shadow. So this month we're going to be focusing on concepts around light and shadow, how that works into magic, how that kind of brings out what it is that's within us, and how working with different energies can bring out different aspects. Now, I want it clear that it's not about good and evil. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about light and shadow. We're talking about energies that lean towards resonance versus energies that lean toward dissonance. Now, both are a part of the human experience. They're all an aspect of the universe. And there is a spectrum, within that, where we go into those gray zones sometimes. But in talking about light and shadow, it is about intent. Magic can be extremely healing or extremely damaging. And it's about the intent. It's about what it is within you. And one of the most important things that any practitioner can focus on or learn about or really come to a place of reality with is both their light and their shadow. And a lot of people, it's like they go with the light, they talk about it, it's what they embrace. Awesome. And don't believe for a second that even the most light-bearing person does not carry some aspect of shadow. And now, just because we carry shadow, which, as far as I'm concerned, and once again, disclaimer, these are my viewpoints. These are the things that I have learned, the things that resonate with me. If you have a different viewpoint of this, great, wonderful. And especially when we talk about light and shadow, because for a lot of people that can hit very personally. And if you have not come to peace with your light and your shadow, then what can happen is that there's kind of a very defensive sort of energy that builds up. And that's okay, because if talking about light and shadow is kind of triggering, then that's a wonderful way to know that maybe there's some more that you can learn about it. There's some more study that you can do into it. And especially in working with light and shadow, often it is very, very important to have somebody who can help you with that. So, if this is kind of a hot button thing for you, if, through the different things we talk about, if you find that, you're feeling uncomfortable, then take a look. I mean, we're not going to go any place bad, okay? These are instructional videos. They're meant to be something that allows people to consider other things and to look at things in a different perspective. So when we talk about that, and it's really important, as I said, to make sure we define our terms, to make sure that we're on the same page as far as what we're talking about. And, when you think about, let's say, healing work, and you're in that place and you feel that warm, tingly energy, and you feel that, whatever tradition that you follow, and you feel that, and you feel that warmth going through you and into someone else and restoring order and balance, that's wonderful light. That's, that aspect of, you know selflessness, that aspect of generosity, that aspect of, just really wanting to give, and wanting someone to have the best quality of life. Everything has light and shadow. I have seen healing works where, the person may have good intentions, and while they're working on someone, they're talking about something bad that happened in the news. And you can almost feel that wonderful light start to become heavier and heavier and denser and denser. And I'm not even the one they're working on. And I can feel it standing nearby. And it's like, whoa. And there have been times when I've actually intervened. And, kind of gotten their attention. And it's like, hey, can I talk to you for just a minute? It's first recognizing that there's light and shadow in everything. And that is, I think, the important place to start. Everything and everyone carries an aspect of light and shadow. Every emotion that we feel carries an aspect of light and shadow. It's like, well, love, yeah, of course, light. But what about when love becomes obsession, love becomes stalking, love becomes codependent? That is the shadow aspect of it. Something like anger. Oh, well, anger is obviously a shadow emotion. No. Anger is, the other side of that is determination. The other side of that is the desire to stand up for what's right, to fight for what's right, to not accept injustice, to say, you know what, that's going on, and I'm not going to support that, and and I'm going to march against what I feel is not right. It makes you willing to stand up. It shows that you are willing to fight for what you believe in. Everything has a light and shadow aspect. And the most loving, wonderful, adoring people are no less loving, wonderful, and adorable just because they are still capable of getting pissed off. They are still capable of, releasing, that whatever it is that may be pent up inside of them. My theory is that the shadow that is strongest is the shadow that is ignored. And it's interesting because, there are those who believe that shadow, there's that light aspect has a consciousness and shadow has a consciousness. I sort of believe that because I think everything has a consciousness. And if a whole bunch of people in a particular place are really focused on a lot of shadow energy, then yeah, you can feel it in the room. You can feel it in the room after they've left. The same as with a light experience. If you have a space that is just healing and wonderful and loving, and it's full of wonderful, loving people, and then they leave, and people walk in the room afterwards, and you just it still feels good. That energy remains, and the ability to perceive it, identify it, and not attach to either one, because that's also a part of finding that balance point, is when you do not attach to either one to the complete exclusion of the other, because in order to be balanced beings, we have to find a balance with that. We can't just walk around going that everything's beautiful, everything's wonderful, there is no such thing as illness. It's like, yeah, there is. There's such a thing as illness. There's such a thing as anger. There's such a thing as death. There's such a thing as, all of these things exist in this world. My feeling is that what our state of mind, where that takes us, is how we deal with the universe. There's an old Buddhist saying, when you have learned to love hell, you will always live in heaven. And, that idea that if you can accept what it is that's going on, and to just look at it as an event and say, okay, what do we need to do to correct this, or what do we need to do to just sit back and enjoy this? These are the things that motivate where your energy goes, what your energy is carrying. I live up in the mountains, and there's this really windy road that goes up to, where I live. And there are people who swear that everybody who drives that road is an idiot and a moron, and they're all inconsiderate, and everybody drives it badly, and nobody's courteous. And they swear that every single day, they are constantly, 4 to 5 times a day, they have, really inconsiderate people on the road. Pretty much me, yeah, there's been an occasional, rude person, or somebody who is, gets impatient behind me and decides to cross the double yellow line, or, somebody who really could pull over into a turnout, but choose not to, so we all get to go below the speed limit down the mountain. Those are rare. For me, those are rare. As far as I'm concerned, pretty much everybody, it's like, yeah, a lot of people are courteous. A lot of people are, I notice the courteous people. I focus on the courteous people. The people who, pull over if they're moving a little bit slower. Or the people behind me that, if I'm going slow because it's really foggy or whatever, and I'm looking for a turnout, that are patient and wait for me to turn out, and then, when they pass, they blink see, that's the thing, you blink your hazard lights when you pass somebody to say thank you. And, it's just, I have found the vast majority to be courteous. But if people are focused on only the horrible, rude drivers, that's all they're going to experience. So as far as they're concerned, that is their experience. So when, the fact that every single day we have choice, every single event in our life we have choice. We can choose to go into a shadow place, or we can choose to go into a place of light. Either way, it's a choice. And sometimes people choose extreme, aspects of those. Mostly everybody's like in that spectrum right in here. Sometimes there are people who go to that extreme. You find people who are that amazing, wonderful, above and beyond the call of duty, just, they almost radiate a glow of love and goodness. And then you have the people who are just, they are focused on creating chaos, they're focused on shadow, and they don't care who they hurt. The aspect of the sociopath. So we have these extremes, we have this group, this, range right in the middle. Where do you fit in? And the answer to that question is, that depends on how you're feeling that day. It depends on your perspective. It depends on, if you're getting really irritated and you're, you had little things nicking at you all day. It's like, the car didn't start right, or, somebody cut you off on the freeway, or, the cashier was slow, or, you went to go get gas and there was people in line in front of you, so you'd have to wait. All of those things add up to, little things that kind of pull us into that more shadowy place, that pull us in to that energy that is more about the self, that is more about us. It either feeds into fear, or it feeds into a sense of lack. I don't have this, or, if I don't, protect what I've got, then somebody else is going to take it away from me. And those can come from very bad experiences, and if you've had those bad experiences, I'm sorry. The thing that defines it is that moment of choice. Before you, cut around somebody angrily, or before you, flip them the old one-finger salute, what is your choice in that moment? Can you honestly say, you know what? I have thought this through, I've considered my options, and I'm going to honk at that person just because they irritated me because they were going slow. And I honestly feel that is the best option that I can use. No. When dealing with emotion, when dealing with feelings, when dealing with our own shadow, often it comes up and we find every reason to justify why it was okay for us to take a particular action. Why was it okay to yell at a stranger? Why was it okay to lose our patience? Why was it okay to make a snarky comment to a waiter or waitress just because the food came slow? You know, it's that aspect of personal responsibility. And it is very much about personal responsibility. And I've known people, it's like, well, you know, that's just the way I am. No, that's just the way you choose to be. That is your option. You don't have to be anything. You don't have to be a particular way. And when very shadowy things happen, when very hard, very horrible things happen, like, you know, we've had so many shootings. I mean, it just really breaks my heart to think of how many people just over the last year or so, you know, how many people have died needlessly. How many people were just caught up in someone else's anger and someone else's shadow. Now, you know, there could be the whole philosophical discussion about, you know, what is meant to be and destiny and all that other stuff, and so that's for you to decide for yourself. That's for you. This is not about why someone chose to do what they did, but what they chose to do and its connection to either light or shadow. And the thing is that often when an event, a really horrible event happens, you see the heroic actions come up. People who place themselves in harm's way to save others. People who, you know, will shield others with their own bodies. People who will grab a stranger and help them to safety. So it's in the darkness that light shines brightest. And light and shadow, they're connected. When one occurs, the other is right there. You know, it's, you know, you see something like a peace rally and then someone does something really ugly at it, or people react angrily to it. The issue is, and the question is, where is your choice? What do you choose to do based on what's going on around you? Because what's going on out there can influence you, but it does not make the choice for you. You choose based on that choice, or based on that, what that experience is. You know, I really, you know, I enjoy, you know, going to, you know, events and talking to people and having a chance to exchange ideas. And if someone who has ideas very different from me, you know, comes up and it's like, well, what about this and what about that and da-da-da-da, and this is what you talk about, and, you know, what, it's like, okay, so I guess you aren't planning to subscribe to my channel. I mean, it's not about responding to that person with exactly what they gave me. It's not about saying, you know, oh, you know, well, if you're going to be angry at me, then I'm going to be angry at you. If you're going to distrust me, I'm going to distrust you. You know, it's not that tit for tat thing. What it is when somebody comes at you with that, you still have choice. You not only have a right to choice, you have an obligation to it. What do you choose? What feels right for you? If it feels right for you to match what they're throwing out, that's fine. But own it. You know, we're going to be talking about that, taking ownership of both your light and your shadow. Now, the interesting thing, or the part that I find the most interesting, is that often people have an easier time acknowledging their shadow than their light. And we are going to be talking about that. Why is it so difficult to acknowledge our light? Why is it so difficult to see ourselves connected to all creation? Why is it so difficult to view ourselves as a divine being having a human experience? And I really hope that this discussion is going to help people to be able to find peace with both. I mean, whether you have spent your life doing wonderful things or whether you have spent your life doing horrible things, you carry both. The worst person carries, even if it's just a little sliver of light, they carry it. And the best person, no matter how good they are, within them there is a capacity for shadow. Because we're human. You know, as long as we are here in these bodies, having a human experience, a part of that human experience is learning to understand that we have the capacity for both. And the crux of it, the point of clarity is when we claim the right to choose, when we take ownership of our ability to choose which way we go. And that choice is with every single experience we have, every single encounter, every opportunity for us to either show patience or respond with anger or respond with fear. Now, fear, most people would say, oh, fear is shadow. Fear is not necessarily shadow. Fear keeps you alive. So we're going to be talking about, one of our talks will be about the emotions and what each emotion has, what their light aspect is, what their shadow aspect is, and how to find the balance point between the two. So this is going to be a really, I think it's going to be a very important discussion, because in the use of magic, in the use of energetic work, intention is everything. And working with you on it, or it's working against you on it, that is determined by how the universe perceives your intent. If your intent is to create harmony, if your intent is to restore balance, great, the universe can get behind you. And if your intent is to be divisive, if your intent, no matter how noble you think your cause is, tearing down something else is not, well, it doesn't create resonance. It doesn't create understanding. It doesn't create compassion. It's just about straight up judging. And it's about fear. So you choose. Every moment, every experience, you choose. And you're going to choose somewhere along that spectrum, between light and shadow. And that choice is simply a choice. It does not define you. It simply is an opportunity to look at yourself in a more courageous way. It takes a lot of courage to face your own shadow. It takes a lot of courage to claim your shadow and still love yourself. To know that your shadow is a part of you, and yet to love it as an aspect of you. To know that your response and your reactions are your responsibility, and they are your way of expressing either your light or your shadow. We're going to be talking about pausing. We're going to be talking about taking a moment to decide where you want to go with something. What is the purpose? What is the outcome you're looking for? And the responsibility of knowing your light or your shadow in any type of magical work, in any type of energetic work, in any type of earth magic. You need to know where you stand. You need to know where you're coming from, because that is what you will create. Know your intention and be clear on it. So, I hope you enjoyed this month. I hope you enjoy this topic. And if you have any exceptions with it, or if you feel that, you have a different opinion, please go ahead and post it. On Blog Talk Radio, on Healing House Radio, you can post in comments. They have comments for each show. And you can, put that in. And I will be happy to answer it and address it, on the videos. So, here we are in August, and we are, this is my birthday month, yay. And so, we're coming to the end of summer. So, enjoy your time, enjoy the last bits of summer, because soon we'll be heading into fall, my favorite season. And plan on doing that from a place of balance. Light and shadow both exist. Now, you can work on how they exist in you and how you express it. So thank you for joining me, and if you like this video, please click like. You can share the video. If you have, like I said, if you have comments on it, if you have any questions for me, please post them. If you would like to subscribe, that would be awesome, and it's really cool seeing the community grow. And if you wish to support me on a higher level, then you can go to the link in the description to my Patreon account and become a sponsor. And there are definite perks, that come with sponsorship, so you can take a look at that. So again, thank you for joining me. And as always, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and class dismissed.